Okay, so when it comes to putting in and taking out your cup, it's pretty simple, but it won't feel so simple when you first try it. And that's just because it takes practice. So here's one of my newer cups. I have a funny feeling I'm going to really like this one because it's short, fat, and squat and a little bit firm. So generally what you want to do is first of all, stick a finger up there and feel around for a hard marble, which is your cervix. I'm sure you've already figured that one out by now. And if not, then feel around and find it. To me, jokingly, when I was teaching my best friend about this stuff, I called it the chandelier of the vagina because it feels like a chandelier hanging down from the ceiling. So find the chandelier. What we're going to do is we're going to put the chandelier in the cup. The easiest way depends on the cup. So, for example, I have that Bell cup that has the cool ridges down the side. This one is a lot easier to fold because the ridges help it fold in those certain spots. So if you have a cup like that that happens to have a little bit of a helping hand, if you will, then it might make it easier to fold certain ways than others. Um, or if you have, for some ungodly reason, you pick this one, which probably won't fit you. Um, this one's a lot harder to fold because it has that spine back there. You can kind of see that line. There's a hidden thicker spine in the back of this cup. This one was really hard to make a shape. That's one of the reasons I didn't like it. So generally what you want to do is a couple different ways. The two easiest and pretty foolproof methods is called the punch down or the 7. So the punch down is take your finger on the rim and punch it down to the bottom of the cup. And then I use my fingers to keep it held right here while I pull my finger out. So you're pinching the top there to keep it from popping open. And then I take my fingers and I hold it shut right there. So you're holding the corner down inside of itself. And it's shaped like this, which is relatively small and easy to put in. So you stick them up in there. And before you reach, usually by the time I reach my fingers inside my body, I gently let go. Gently. Some cups are going to be pretty violent when they pop open. Depends on how firm they are. And it'll pop open. So at that point, my cervix is right here, and this cup is popped open below it. So now I push it up a little further, and my cervix will sit inside. Generally, that one's pretty good. If you have a really soft cup, so for example, one of the cups that does it all the time, the Super Jenny is so soft on the bottom that when I punch it down into the bottom, it gets stuck there. And when it's inside of me, I can't get it to pop. It'll stop like right here. If you can't get it to pop open, squeeze this part generally and it will force it to open. If that doesn't work, squeeze here down and sometimes that will force it to pop open. If it doesn't, take it out and try a different fold. Generally, when I do the punch down on here, I do it halfway. So instead of punching the corner all the way to the bottom because I know it'll get stuck, I just go up a little higher and then I punch it like that. And it's the same idea. So sometimes all you gotta do is just don't punch down as far on it. Don't punch down so hard. Hello, camera. Focus. Don't punch down so hard and you'll be okay and it'll work. But if not, use a different method. Another method, so that was the punch down. Punch down is just stuff part of the rim into itself. And you'll end up with a pretty flower shape at top. You pinch the triangle, stick it in. Be careful if you have a very energetic, stiff cup. Sometimes it will just fly right out of your hands. I have had one cup in my whole life fling itself across the floor. Thank God it was in my own home and not in a public restroom. But that was a freak accident, and it's because I wasn't paying attention, and it was a very strong cup that I had. So that's the punch down. The 7-fold is another foolproof way to get it to pop open. So you fold the cup in half at the top, you grab one corner and you shove it towards the bottom like this, and then you hold it. It's in the shape of a 7 roughly, and then you insert that end. When you are up to your finger or a little farther, you slowly let go and it will pop open. And that one, it tends to be a little more gentle too on your bladder because it's not punching this way. It's just kind of slowly unfolding. So if you need a more gentle way to open your cup, the 7-fold is a great way. The 7-fold is also a lot more slimlined. So if you're a little bit petite, this one doesn't go as wide as the punch down. 7-fold's a pretty good one. A lot of people use a 7-fold. I like punch down, but just because it's easier and it's quick. Punch down, I don't have to wrestle with it so hard. Whereas 7, you kind of have to put your fingers all over the cup. So if it's covered in blood, then it's kind of like, But if you need gentle and you need slim profile, this is good. Now, there is also the C-fold. I never use this. The C-folders just make the rim into the shape of a C and then jam it up there. This is huge for me. This is wide. I can do it, but I don't like it, and so I use the other methods, but this will also pop open, but it's pretty violent, so be careful. I would start with a 7-fold or a punch down. You can try a C in the beginning just to get it open, to get your cervix in, to understand how that feels and to like get it done, and then kind of pick your favorite. But the C-fold is pretty chunky towards the top there. It's pretty wide profile. But you can use it, I guess. I just don't personally. There is another one that's like super weird that people don't ever use, hardly ever. And I think it's called the E-fold. I can't even get it on this cup because it's so thick, but you basically fold it like this, and it's insane. Hardly anybody ever uses this. I wouldn't bother. Now, when it comes to making sure that your cervix is in the cup, sometimes when you do a punch down, your cervix might be next to it, and your cervix will be right here, and the cup will pop open and just move your cervix to the side, and then your cup is not catching anything. Here's how you make sure that your cervix is in the cup. So the cup is in my body, only the tail is hanging out. If you've got anything more than the tail hanging out like this, that's too long of a cup, or your cervix is just sitting very low, and I would get a shorter, fatter cup, or just a shorter cup. So the tail's in like this. This is the outside. This is inside. I stick my finger up along it. Usually I hold onto the tail, and I'll stick my finger up along the cup and feel in a circle motion all the way around it. If I can feel my cervix, so let's say my cervix is sitting, which happens to me sometimes, not as often anymore, but it does. So let's say the cervix is right here. If I'm sticking my finger up and I'm swirling it around the whole cup, I'm going to feel that cervix and go, it's not in. So what I do is I pinch the bottom, pull it down a little bit, and then wiggle it around, which sounds funny, but it works. Or I twist. You can twist too, and twisting will work. Gently. If you're a little drier on the inside and you haven't really started bleeding really yet, don't twist so hard. Just gently kind of move it around, and eventually your cervix will just kind of sit into the cup. And then you push it back up, and you do it again. You stick your finger and feel around. If you don't feel anything and you just feel the walls of the cup, you've got your cervix in. If you feel that big marble or a big chandelier, if you will, that's your cervix. It needs to go in the cup. If you can't get it in the cup, try different folds. So like the 7-fold, sometimes the 7-fold for me will push my cervix to the side though. Or what you can do is try to get it in just a little bit and then let the cup open so that you're not at your cervix yet, and then push it up. You just kind of have to finagle with it. Finagle and get familiar with the inside of your body. It took me, I think, maybe 3 months of trial and error to figure it out. And when I first got my cup, I used it on a dry run when I was not bleeding so that I could feel around and feel my cervix and feel how things are and how does it pop and does it make me feel like I have to pee and all that. Dry run them first, just so you know what they feel like. And then once you get your favorites and you figure out what you do and don't like, it should be easier to purchase a cup. You really only need one, but the thing is, you don't want one. I have a cup for my heavy days. I have a cup for my light days. So, cup for my heavy days, this one, and probably this one. Cup for really crampy days, these two, because they're super, super, super soft. They don't hurt when I cramp. Cup for activities like scuba diving or sports. And then also a cup for in the middle when I'm just in no particular mood at all and nothing is particularly crampy or whatever. So I have options. I can pick different comfort levels, different activities, different this, different that. And I highly recommend that you do. And also cups for, oh no, I'm out and about, I don't have time for this. So generally you want to explore around a little bit. How many cups do I have? I have four, let's see, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 13 cups, and I'm about to have 14 because I found another one that I want to try. It's shaped like a squat fat globe, and it has no hole, so I'm interested to see what it's about. So I'll tell you about that one when I get it. But other than that, when you're done washing them out with soap and water, put them in their little pouch to keep them dry. I keep them in the bathroom cabinet. Most of them will come with a pouch. If they don't, then get a jewelry pouch or something like that to put it in, as long as the jewelry pouch doesn't shed. And there's some of them will come with their name so you remember who's what. And as far as cleaning them, I would just stick to boiling them in a pot of water. If you don't have a pot of water you want to use to boil them, I just bought this and it looks really cool. It's a steamer that will clean it for you. And what you do is you put, I think it's a tablespoon of water in the bottom of this thing, and then it will steam it for you. So the cup sits with the tail up and the bell down on the steamer, and it'll just, you push it and you forget about it. It's a one and done deal, and then your cup is sterilized when it comes out, which is nice. This was a good investment, and I bought it because I have so many cups, and I just wanted something that would clean them without me having to use the stove top. Be careful if you are going to use a pot and water. If you forget that they are there, you will melt all of your cups, and that's happened to a lot of people, so be careful. It's easy to get distracted, especially with new kiddos. So I would probably just find a steamer that you can buy online, and that way you just push a button and walk away, and when you come back it's clean. I think it takes like 5 minutes. That's about it as far as pads go. I have some pads, and you're going to have to forgive me because they are not pristine and pretty. Those are the ones I gave you. The pads that I have are used and abused, but there is some new ones that I just bought that I was talking about. So let me use those as an example. So these are the new pads that I just bought. They're that flannel material, so they're real nice and cool to the touch. They're not hot, they're not furry fluffy. Some people like it that way. So this part here will snap onto your underwear, and this part lays against your body, just like a regular pad, except that there's no sticky thing to be stuck on, and the wings don't have to be all janky like mine used to do. This just clips. If you find that you're walking during the day and your pad starts slipping down towards your butt, I just use a little safety pin, and I go through the front part of my underwear and very gently through the pad, and usually that works. That's enough. You can do it that way if you want. I use that for days when I work because I walk a ton during work. I walk miles and miles. For other than that, just usually when you get pads, they will come with instructions by the maker on what to do. And all of mine have. Basically, when you get home and you need to change your pad, you soak it in cold water and rinse it out. If it's super soiled, then you take it under the sink and you wring it and you rinse it and you wash till it's basically clean-ish. Then keep it in a bin of cold water, or if you have a washer or dryer, just wash it. Just go ahead and wash it. And then that way you'll keep the pattern pretty and stuff. Do not use fabric softener of any kind. It will clog the pores of the fabric and therefore make it hard to absorb anymore, and you'll just end up with a cloth that doesn't want to take the blood. Like a brand new one does. That's why I had to replace mine, because I wasn't being nice to my things, and technically that cost me. But my oldest pads are about 10 years old. They're pretty old. And they still work just like they did in the beginning. In fact, the more you use them, the more absorbent they get. Okay, well that's all I can think of right now. If you have any problems with your cups, if you have a problem opening them while they're inside or pulling them back out, just let me know. Pulling them out isn't hard. Just pull on the tail, and once you can get to the rings and feel them, pinch it and then pull out. I like to pinch it with these fingers and then push a finger up and really help it get out so that it doesn't smack my bladder on the way out. That's my method. So usually I just like this and pull it out. Some people don't have to do that though. Don't be afraid to yank on these tails. They're meant to be yanked on. If it breaks, it wasn't a good cup. Alright, if you have any questions, let me know. It should be good.